One of the top issues that my clients and students have is trying to find the right collar and leash setup in order to walk their dog properly, so that the dog's not lunging at other dogs or people, not pulling ahead, not going into shutdown mode, so on and so forth. So it's always a struggle. So my partner and I have come up with a leash that we call the Lucas Agnew leash, and it's particularly good for a dog like Walter. Now, Walter's issue is that he has a bad meeting style. So when he goes up to dogs to meet them or greet them, instead of smelling them at a distance and then coming in respectfully, he goes right for their face, which is probably not the best way for a dog to meet another dog. And it gets Walter in trouble, and it also gets the other dogs in trouble. So this is a perfect setup for a dog like Walter. So the way the leash works is it's basically a slip lead. You put the slip lead over the dog like this, and then what you're going to do is make the opening large so that you can do a figure 8. And we're lucky because even though he's a boxer, he has a nice muzzle. He's got a lot of face, which yes you do, which a lot of boxers don't have. A decent sized muzzle, they have a flatter face. So we put this around like this, we center it right here, and then we put the tie down right here to keep it snug. And then we have this little ingenious backup that will just hook on to any place on his buckle collar, so that if he were to pull it off, you're not going to lose your dog. Now, the problem that we find with this type of setup is that sometimes the dogs become extremely reactive to having the sensation of this material over their nose. They're not used to it. They're used to having being guided or led by by something that goes around the neck. That's the normal collar setup. But in this case, of course, it's going around the nose, and a lot of dogs, I would probably say the majority of dogs, will struggle with it for a period of time. And so what we do is we put this on him, and then we also put the regular leash on. In this case, I'm just using a regular leather lead, putting it on his martingale. You can also use just a flat buckle collar, it doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do is that when he starts to react negatively and starts to freak out a little bit by the pressure around his nose, then I'm just going to give him an opportunity to get used to the sensation of the material around his nose before I start to guide him with pressure around the nose. So I'll just alternate back and forth. I'll let the Lucas Agnew lead sort of float. I'll still hold it, but I'll let it sort of float with no pressure. I'll guide him and walk him with this, and then as he gradually gets more and more used to this, then I'll start to alternate back and forth until pretty soon I'm actually using this leash entirely and I'm not using the other leash. So this is really good for a dog like Walter that doesn't have a good meeting style. We've used it on him today when we walked in the pack, and he did really well. We were able to use very little pressure to keep his face from going into another dog's face, which has gotten little Walter in trouble from time to time, and that's not happening now. So Walter really likes his Lucas Agnew leash. Right, Walter? It's hard to see, but his little tail's moving right here. He likes it.